Words are weapons. They either cut through a woman's defenses or they bounce off like dull blades. And here's the shocking truth. Most men waste words. They ramble, they flatter, they pour out cheap compliments, and then wonder why she yawns and files them away as forgettable. But a man who knows how to wield words, he doesn't need 10 sentences to spark attraction. He only needs one. Attraction isn't about saying more. It's about saying less and saying it with weight. The wrong phrase makes her roll her eyes. The right phrase makes her pause, lean in, and feel that pull she can't explain. Have you ever noticed how some men can say something so simple, almost careless, yet it lingers in her mind all night? That's not luck. That's presence. That's precision. That's the difference between a man who speaks like everyone else and a man who speaks like fire. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Speak only what is necessary and speak it with truth." Most men ignore that. They think attraction comes from empty flattery, but the Stoics knew it comes from words rooted in self-respect, strength, and clarity. And today, I'm going to hand you 8 phrases forged in that same fire. Phrases that cut through the noise. Phrases that make women instantly feel your presence. So pay attention. Because once you start speaking like this, you won't just sound different. You'll feel different. And women will feel it too. Every woman alive has been flooded with compliments. Think about it. From the moment she was a teenager, she's been told she's beautiful, she's hot, she's gorgeous, by every man who wanted a shot. Social media alone has trained her to tune out validation the way you tune out background noise. So when you repeat the same tired lines, you don't stand out. You disappear into the chorus of forgettable voices. But here's the paradox. While women are drowning in words, they're starving for the right ones. Words that carry weight. Words that don't come from neediness but from strength. Words that don't beg for approval but radiate self-respect. That's why most men fail. They think attraction is about constant praise, when in reality, attraction is triggered by tension, scarcity, and presence. Psychologists call this contrast. The brain craves difference. When everyone else gives her the same empty praise, the man who speaks with clarity and edge instantly triggers her curiosity. He doesn't sound like the rest. He sounds like a man. And that curiosity, that's the seed of attraction. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts are shallow, your words will be shallow. But if you live with purpose, discipline, and presence, even a simple phrase carries fire." That's the secret. It's not just the words you speak, but the man who speaks them. Today I'll give you 8 phrases that make women feel something immediately. Not because they're tricks, but because they're truth. Each one reveals strength, mystery, or self-respect. And when a woman hears them, she doesn't just hear the words, she feels the man behind them. So let's get into the first phrase. Phrase 1. I don't chase, I choose. This one line separates boys from men. Most men chase women. They flood her phone with messages, bend their schedule around hers, jump through hoops hoping she'll pick them. But when you chase, you instantly lower your value. You're telling her that she's the prize, and you're auditioning for her approval. Women don't respect men who chase, they respect men who choose. Here's the psychology. Scarcity drives desire. When you frame yourself as the chooser, you flip the script. You're no longer one of the many men fighting for her attention. You become the man she has to win. This instantly shifts the dynamic because women instinctively crave men with options, men who don't need them but decide to allow them into their world. Picture this. Tom, 48, spent months chasing a younger woman. He texted her every morning, offered to drive her places, bought her little gifts. She thanked him, but never saw him as more than a friend. Then there's David, 52. When a woman asked him, "Why aren't you chasing me like the others?" he smirked and replied, "I don't chase, I choose." That one line stunned her. She laughed, but her curiosity lit up. Why? Because he was the only man who wasn't scrambling for her. Suddenly, she wanted to be the one he chose. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." If your ambition is simply to win her approval, you've already lost. But if your ambition is bigger, your mission, your standards, your vision, then she must rise to your level. Here's the shift. Stop chasing. Start choosing. Stop begging to be picked. Start filtering. When you live like a man who chooses, women stop seeing you as desperate. They start seeing you as rare. And rare is irresistible. Phrase 2. I like how you think. Most men only compliment a woman's body. You're beautiful. You're sexy. You look amazing tonight. These lines are predictable, forgettable, and they put you in the same bucket as every other man she's met. She already knows she's attractive, so she hears it daily. But almost no man ever makes her feel seen for her mind. That's why this phrase carries so much weight. Here's the psychology. Attraction isn't only physical. It's intellectual and emotional. When you recognize her intelligence or perspective, you're separating yourself from the crowd of men who only see her surface. Women crave to feel desired and respected. And when you signal that you value her thoughts, you create a deeper connection that sparks both admiration and intrigue. Picture this. Mark, 50, met a younger woman at a networking event. Every guy around her was saying the same things. You're stunning. You should model. She smiled politely, but you could see the boredom in her eyes. Then Mark leaned in and said, after she gave her opinion on a topic, I like how you think. She paused, looked at him differently, and suddenly he had her attention. Why? Because he was the only one who wasn't fixated on her looks. He was engaging her mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Complimenting her mind tells her you see beyond the surface, that you recognize the soul shaping those thoughts. And that level of recognition makes her feel truly unique in your presence. Here's the shift. Stop throwing empty compliments at her looks. Start noticing what others ignore, her ideas, her perspective, her way of seeing the world. Say, I like how you think, because when you do, you become the man who sees her fully. And that, brother, is unforgettable. Phrase 3. That doesn't work for me. Most men are terrified of saying no to a woman. They think the moment they push back, the attraction will vanish. So they bend, they compromise, they tolerate disrespect. And what happens? She loses respect. Because a man without boundaries isn't a man at all, and he's a doormat. That's why this phrase is so powerful. It communicates in 4 simple words that you have standards. Here's the psychology. Boundaries signal value. Human beings instinctively respect what is protected. When you calmly say, that doesn't work for me, you're not arguing, you're not begging, you're not throwing a tantrum. You're showing that you have a line, and that your dignity isn't negotiable. Women will test this line again and again, not to destroy you, but to feel that you can't be moved. If you fold, you fail. If you stand firm, you rise in her eyes. Take Robert, 55. His younger girlfriend often canceled plans at the last minute. Instead of speaking up, he smiled and said, it's okay. Maybe next time. Over time, she treated him with less and less respect. Contrast that with Daniel, 53. When a woman tried the same move, he simply replied, that doesn't work for me. I don't rearrange my time for flakiness. Then he moved on with his evening. Did she get angry? For a moment. But did she respect him more? Absolutely. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Boundaries are mastery in action. They show you're not controlled by her moods, her whims, or her tests. You decide what is acceptable in your world. Here's the shift. Stop being scared of her disapproval. Respect isn't earned by pleasing. It's earned by protecting your frame. The next time she crosses a line, look her in the eye and say, that doesn't work for me. Watch how everything changes. Phrase 4. I like you, but I don't need you. Neediness is poison. The moment a woman feels you need her, for happiness, validation, or a sense of worth, the game is over. She might enjoy the attention, she might soak in the flattery, but deep down, she loses respect. Why? Because women aren't attracted to men who cling. They're attracted to men who stand alone, who are complete with or without them. That's what makes this phrase so powerful. Here's the psychology. Attraction thrives on freedom, not desperation. When you communicate, I like you, but I don't need you, you signal abundance. You're saying, I choose you because I want to, not because I have to. That's rare. Most men communicate the opposite. I can't live without you. Please don't leave me. And the moment those words escape, desire dies. Picture this. Greg, 49, dated a woman 10 years younger. From the start, he made her his oxygen. He texted constantly, rearranged his life for her, and panicked at the thought of losing her. Within months, she pulled away. Contrast that with Alex, 54. When his girlfriend accused him of being too independent, he looked her in the eye and said, "I like you, but I don't need you." At first, she was stunned, but then she leaned in closer. Why? Because independence is magnetic. It tells her that if she wants to stay, she has to add value. Seneca once wrote, "He who has great power should use it lightly." This is the essence of non-neediness. True power isn't clinging. It's holding loosely, knowing you're whole either way. Here's the shift. Don't let a woman become your lifeline. She's a part of your life, not the source of it. Live as if you're complete on your own, because you are. And when you finally embody that truth, women won't just like you, they'll crave you. Phrase 5. Calm down. I've got this. A woman's world can feel like chaos. She gets pulled in 1,000 directions, emotions swinging like a pendulum, her mind racing with what-ifs and insecurities. Most men, when faced with that storm, either panic with her or retreat to avoid it. But a man who can look her in the eye and say, "Calm down. I've got this," does something rare. He grounds her. And grounding, brother, is irresistible. Here's the psychology. Women are biologically wired to seek safety in a man's presence. Not just physical safety, but emotional stability. When you stay calm under pressure, you're telling her subconscious, "You're safe here." That triggers trust, which is the root of respect and attraction. Boys her age lose control when she spirals. Men stay steady, and steadiness is magnetic. Picture this. Michael, 50, was driving with his younger girlfriend when their car broke down on the highway. She panicked, worried about being late, worried about the cost, spiraling into stress. Michael smiled, put a hand on her shoulder and said, "Calm down, I've got this." He called roadside assistance, cracked a joke, and within minutes, she relaxed. Later, she admitted that moment made her more attracted to him than any date they'd been on. Why? Because she felt safe in his frame. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's what this phrase communicates. Mastery of your mind, even when circumstances shake. Here's the shift. Stop letting her chaos pull you into the storm. When she spirals, don't match her energy. Ground it. Stay calm. Take control. Say, "Calm down. I've got this." Because when you do, she won't just respect you. She'll feel something far deeper. Trust. Phrase 6. You'll have to earn that. Most men give too much too soon. They hand over validation, attention, favors, even commitment before a woman has proven she deserves it. And then they wonder why she doesn't respect them. The truth is brutal. When you give without boundaries, you teach her to take you for granted. But when you look her in the eye and say, "You'll have to earn that," you flip the script. You become the prize. Here's the psychology. Attraction is built on challenge. Women crave the man who makes them rise, who doesn't bend instantly to their whims. When you set standards, you awaken her competitive instinct, that deep biological drive to win over a high-value man. Boys give everything up front because they're afraid to lose her. Men hold their ground because they know they are the prize. Imagine this. David, 52, was dating a younger woman who playfully asked him to take her on an expensive weekend trip after only 2 weeks of knowing each other. Instead of caving, David smirked and said, "That's not how this works. You'll have to earn that." She laughed, a little shocked, but later admitted it made her respect him more. Why? Because he didn't fold. He wasn't desperate. He had standards. Epictetus once wrote, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" That's exactly what this phrase communicates. It tells her, "I'm not a man who can be bought with flattery or beauty. My time, my effort, my gifts, they have value. And value must be earned." Here's the shift. Stop overgiving. Stop proving. Instead, invite her into your world and make her work for her place in it. That's not arrogance. That's respect, and for yourself. And when you respect yourself, she has no choice but to respect you too. Phrase 7. I don't chase. I attract. Chasing is weakness disguised as effort. The man who chases is always running after approval, always proving, always trying to close the gap between him and her. But the man who says, I don't chase, I attract, flips the entire game. He communicates that he lives by his own gravity, and if she wants to orbit his world, it's by her choice, not his desperation. Here's the psychology. Attraction thrives on polarity. Women aren't wired to desire a man who begs, pleads, or scrambles for her time. They desire the man who commands presence without chasing, who focuses on his mission, his discipline, his growth, and in turn pulls women toward him effortlessly. Chasing communicates need. Attracting communicates value. Take Mark, 55. After his divorce, he started dating again and fell for a woman in her early 30s. At first, he bombarded her with messages, flowers, and constant availability. She lost interest fast. But when he shifted gears, when he stopped texting first, focused on his work, hit the gym, and let her feel his absence, something shifted. She came back curious, wondering why he wasn't chasing. That curiosity turned into desire. Why? Because value doesn't beg. Value draws others in. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And when your thoughts are rooted in strength, not scarcity, you stop running after women. You live in such a way that they naturally want to be near you. Here's the shift. Kill the chase. Stop sprinting toward her approval. Instead, build yourself so relentlessly that your presence becomes the reward. Remember, lions don't chase butterflies. They stand in their power, and everything else comes to them. Phrase 8. I respect myself too much for that. Respect is the backbone of attraction. Without it, desire crumbles. You can be charming, funny, successful, but if a woman doesn't respect you, she will never truly desire you. And respect always starts with self-respect. That's why the phrase, I respect myself too much for that, is the ultimate boundary setter. It tells her you refuse to tolerate disrespect, games, or situations that compromise your dignity. Here's the psychology. Most men sacrifice self-respect for temporary validation. They tolerate being breadcrumbed, ghosted, or treated as an option because they're afraid to lose her. But every time you allow that, you train her to see you as weak. When you stand tall and say, I respect myself too much for that, you send a shockwave through her mind. You show her that you value yourself above her approval. And paradoxically, that makes you infinitely more attractive. Think of Robert, 47. He was seeing a younger woman who constantly canceled plans last minute, treating his time like it didn't matter. Instead of begging for her attention, Robert calmly said, Listen, I respect myself too much for that. If you can't value my time, then this won't work. She went silent. Then, days later, she came back and more respectful, more attentive. Why? Because she realized she couldn't push past his boundaries. Epictetus once said, You will earn the respect of all men if you begin by earning the respect of yourself. That's the essence of this phrase. It's not arrogance. It's the quiet strength of a man who knows his worth and refuses to trade it for scraps. Here's the shift. Never compromise your self-respect for a woman's attention. Speak it, live it, embody it. Because when you do, you won't just make her attracted to you. You'll force her to see you as a man of principle, a man she cannot afford to lose. Brother, what you've just heard are not pickup lines. These are not tricks, games, or gimmicks. These 8 phrases are verbal expressions of something far deeper. A man who knows himself, respects himself, and refuses to bend to the chaos of the world. Words alone mean nothing without the backbone to carry them. But when they are spoken from the frame of discipline, self-mastery, and inner calm, they become irresistible. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Attraction is not about chasing women. It's about embodying the man who doesn't need to chase. It's about becoming so solid, so centered, that your presence alone does the heavy lifting. The words are just echoes of the strength already inside you. So whether you say, calm down, I've got this, or I respect myself too much for that, the real power isn't in the phrase. It's in the man behind it. The man who lives by standards. The man who doesn't fold under pressure. The man who chooses respect over validation. That man, the one you are becoming, doesn't beg for attraction. He radiates it. So here's what I want you to do. Write down one of these phrases, the one that hit you the hardest, and make it your mantra this week. Use it, live it, embody it. Then, come back here and tell me in the comments which phrase you chose. Type the words, "I am the prize, so I know you're part of this brotherhood." A man committed to living with power and principle. And if you're ready to step deeper into this path, into masculinity, Stoicism, and the psychology of attraction, hit that subscribe button, join this movement, and never walk alone on this journey again. Because the truth is simple. Women will come and go. But self-respect, discipline, and brotherhood, those last a lifetime.